Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, in our last session, we were really digging into the roots of this whole thing.
Right. Dark, smoky clubs.
Exactly. 12-inch vinyls, that feeling of discovering something underground in Germany or the UK. It was secretive.
It was a subculture in the truest sense. I mean, if you weren't there, you just didn't know about it.
You didn't. But today, we're looking at the moment that secret got out. We are leaving the basement.
We're heading for the main stage.
And the pop charts.
Oh, yeah.
We are tackling what is pretty much universally known as the golden age of trance.
It's a term that gets thrown around a lot. You know, everyone thinks their favorite era was the golden age just because they were 20 at the time.
Sure.
But here, the data really backs it up. We're looking at a very specific window.
And that is?
Roughly 1998 to about 2005.
So the turn of the millennium, the dot-com boom, rise of the internet, and the rise of the 140 BPM anthem.
Precisely. And the mission for this deep dive is to figure out how a genre that started as this, repetitive, hypnotic, pretty niche sound managed to basically conquer the world in 7 years. We're talking about DJs going from the guy in the corner to genuine global celebrities.
And looking at the notes, we aren't just talking popularity. It's a whole commercial industry springing up. Festivals, merchandise, private jets.
And a performance watched by 2 billion people.
2 billion. Okay, we are definitely circling back to that number because that just feels like the peak of the mountain.
It really was.
But to understand the how, we have to look at the who. And the source material makes it pretty clear there's a holy trinity that defines this era.
You absolutely can't tell the story of the Golden Age without them. We're going to be dissecting Tiësto, Paul van Dyk, and Armin van Buuren. They are the 3 pillars holding it all up.
Okay, but before we get to them, the geography. Because if the early 90s was about, say, Frankfurt or London, 1999 feels like it belongs entirely to the Netherlands. Why there?
It's fascinating, right? Because the Netherlands is a small country. But in the late 90s, they managed to kind of industrialize dance music in a way nobody else had.
Industrialize. That sounds like a factory.
In a way, it was. They perfected a production line for hits. The Dutch sound became the gold standard for trance globally.
Okay, so break that sound down for me. If I'm on a dance floor in 99, how do I know it's a Dutch track?
It's big, it's polished. Early German trance was maybe a bit colder, more hypnotic. The Dutch producers, guys like Ferry Corsten, Rank One, Marco V, they just injected this massive euphoric energy into it.
And technically, there's a specific sound, isn't there?
The supersaw.
The supersaw sounds like a weapon.
It might as well have been. It's a setting on a Roland synthesizer that layers multiple sound waves and detunes them slightly. The result is just this thick, buzzing wall of sound. It sounds huge.
And they combine that with a focus on the breakdown, right? The moment the beat drops in.
And the melody takes over and everyone's hands go up.
Yeah.
Exactly. The breakdown and the buildup. It was designed for maximum emotional release. This wasn't just music for dancing. It was music for feeling. And the Dutch realized this sound was too big for a club. It needed space.
This is where the business side kicks in. The notes mention a company. ID&T.
Right, ID&T, a Dutch events company. And they are arguably as important as any DJ in this story. They looked at the rave scene.
Which was warehouses, muddy fields.
Questionable safety, yeah. And they said, let's professionalize this. They turned the rave into a spectacle.
And they started these huge concepts.
Trance energy and sensation. And sensation is the perfect example of their branding genius. They held it in the Amsterdam Arena, a football stadium.
And wasn't there a dress code?
Sensation white. Everyone had to wear white. All 40,000 people.
That's brilliant psychology. It turns the entire audience into part of the show. The photos from those events. It looks like a sea of milk or something. It's stunning.
Yeah. It creates unity, visual unity for the musical unity. And that's the big takeaway. The Dutch proved you could commercialize this music on a massive scale without it feeling cheap. They made it feel premium.
So you build the Coliseum, you fill it with 40,000 people. Now you need a gladiator.
Enter Tiësto, Thijs Verwest.
And what's interesting in his history is that he didn't start with this polished melodic sound.
No, not at all. And that's crucial. He came from he was in the gabber and hardcore scene in Rotterdam.
Which is fast, aggressive music.
Super aggressive. But when he moved to trance, he brought that rhythmic drive with him and just layered these beautiful melodies on top.
It's a potent combination. Tough enough for the dance floor, but emotional enough for the radio.
That's it. And by 2001, he releases In My Memory, his debut solo album. This wasn't just a bunch of club tracks.
It's a statement.
Yes. You've got Flight 643, this instrumental beast, and then you have lethal industry.
That string melody is, it's one of the most recognizable hooks in electronic music history, surely.
Absolutely. And Tiësto was the one who really bridged that gap between DJ and rock star. Before him, DJs were facilitators. Tiësto became the main event.
And nothing says main event like the moment we teased Athens. 2004.
The Summer Olympics.
I still find this hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
The opening ceremony is usually what? Orchestras, folk music.
Very traditional, very safe. But the Athens committee decided to do something completely different for the Parade of Nations.
They booked a DJ.
They booked Tiësto. So picture it. The ancient stadium, every athlete from every country walking out, and there's a Dutch DJ playing a 90-minute set of trance.
To an audience of 2 billion people on television?
Roughly.
That has to be the tipping point. The genre is no longer underground. It is literally the soundtrack to the world at that moment.
It legitimized DJ culture to the mainstream. It said, this is art. This is performance. He was DJ Mag's #1 for 3 years straight, flying private jets. He created the blueprint for the modern EDM superstar.
Okay, so if Tiësto is the rock star, the commercial explosion, there has to be a counterweight, right? Usually when something goes that big, someone pulls back toward the art.
And that brings us to the second pillar, to Germany and to Paul van Dyk.
PVD.
Exactly. While the Dutch were building these massive anthems, Paul van Dyk represented the purist approach.
Now, purist can sometimes sound a bit snobby. Was he against the commercial success?
Not at all. He was incredibly successful himself. But his approach was different. For him, trance was high art, not just party music. He wanted to be taken seriously as a composer.
And his albums reflect that. I see Reflections got a Grammy nomination.
It did, which was huge. He was crafting these cohesive artistic statements. His sound was a bit crispier, more driving, maybe less fluffy than the Dutch sound.
And he had that one massive track.
For an Angel.
A timeless classic, originally from '94, but it just defined his sets in the golden age. It's got this emotional depth. It's melancholic but uplifting. It's a journey. He also seemed to have a different relationship with his audience. It wasn't just about the huge show.
Right. He had a legendary residency at Cream in Liverpool. But look at the name of his compilation series, The Politics of Dancing.
That's a heavy title for a mixed CD.
It is. But you have to remember, he grew up in East Berlin. Behind the wall.
Oh, wow. So for him, electronic music wasn't just fun. It was literally the sound of freedom.
Precisely. For him, the dance floor was a diplomatic space where borders didn't matter. So while Tiësto was conquering the world, PVD was trying to unite it.
That adds so much depth. Okay, so we have Tiësto as the spectacle. We have PVD as the artistry, which leaves our third figure, Armin van Buuren.
If Tiësto was the face and PVD was the soul, Armin was the backbone.
The community builder.
That's it. Armin understood something very early. The music is important, but the connection between the fans is maybe more important.
And his tool for that wasn't a festival or an album. It was a radio show.
A state of trance. ASOT. Launched in 2001.
And we have to frame this for people listening now. In 2001, there's no Spotify, no social media. If you wanted new music, you couldn't just have an algorithm feed it to you.
You had to seek it out. You had to tune in. ASOT became this weekly global appointment, a dorm room in Canada, an internet cafe in Buenos Aires. For 2 hours, you were all in the same place.
It created a global tribe.
It did. And Armin was the curator. He broke the new records. He introduced new artists. He gave the genre a consistent pulse.
And consistency seems to be his superpower. A lot of DJs started drifting around 2005, moving to house or pop. But Armin stayed.
He held the line. He kept the trance flag flying. And yeah, he had his own massive hits, Communication, Shivers. But his biggest contribution was creating a platform for other people to succeed.
Which is a perfect segue into the infrastructure. Because these guys didn't just play music, they built empires.
This is what really separates the golden age from the 90s. The ecosystem matured. We saw the rise of the artist label.
Right. You didn't just sign to a major. You started your own.
Paul van Dyk had Van Diep. Tiësto and Ferry Corsten started Black Hole. Armin co-founded Armada.
And we have to mention Anjunabeats here. Above and Beyond's label.
Absolutely. Anjunabeats is a prime example of a label becoming a lifestyle. You weren't just a fan, you were Anjuna family. You trusted the logo.
It's like supporting a sports team. You wear the jersey.
It is. And the infrastructure included magazines like Mixmag, online forums. It was a complete self-sustaining world.
There's one more piece to this ecosystem, though, that I think was the key to unlocking the mainstream. We've talked about beats and synths. We haven't talked about the voices.
The vocal explosion. A massive, massive shift.
Because before this, trance was mostly instrumental, wasn't it?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
maybe a sampled phrase. But producers started writing proper songs, verse, chorus, bridge.
The notes highlight Oceanlab. That's Above and Beyond with vocalist Justine Suissa.
A perfect example. Listen to a track like Satellite. Structurally, that's a pop song. It's heartbreaking. The lyrics are about long-distance love. It's relatable.
It gives you something to sing along to. It's not just for 3 a.m. on a dance floor.
Exactly. It brought in a whole new audience that might have been put off by the harder stuff. It made the music romantic, human.
And these vocalists became stars, too. Justine Suissa, Audrey Gallagher, Emma Hewitt.
They were the voices of that generation. Tracks like Burned with Desire or Concrete Angel, they put a soul in the machine. And that combination, the Dutch commercial power, PVD's credibility, Armin's community, and the accessibility of vocals, that's what created the golden age.
It sounds like the perfect storm. You have the music, the business, the culture, all peaking at the exact same time.
It was a moment where it felt like this music was just unstoppable. It had gone from the warehouse to the Olympics.
But, and there's always a but when you inflate the balloon that much.
The tension builds, yeah.
The notes for our next deep dive tease a single word: fragmentation.
That's the reality. When your tent is big enough to hold 2 billion people, not everyone is going to agree on what music to play. The purists start hating the pop stuff. The pop fans find the underground stuff boring.
So the family starts to fight.
And eventually they move into different houses. We're going to see the genre split apart: progressive, uplifting, tech trance. The unity of the golden age starts to fracture because it just got too big to be one thing.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to chew on until next time.
I think the question is this. We celebrate this era for its success, right? Tiësto in the stadium, the gold records. But you have to ask yourself, did that massive commercial success save the genre by giving it a global platform?
Or did it actually kill the spirit of it? Did becoming a business destroy the vibe?
It's the eternal struggle between art and commerce. And the golden age of trance might be the best case study we have of that in modern music.
Well, I'm going to be thinking about that when I listen to Adagio for strings on the drive home. From the Dutch anthems to the global stage, it's been a hell of a ride.
It certainly has.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time for the fragmentation.
See you then.